We've talked about YouTube as a voice recording for your family, and today I want to talk about what happens when that voice recording goes public. Because the thing that nobody tells you about sharing your real life as a parent is that it finds people, the right people. And what comes from those connections is something most parents never see coming. In my last video, I made a case that every parent should have a YouTube channel, not for views, not for subscribers, not to build a brand, but as a permanent voice record for your family. A place where your kids and your grandkids can come back someday and hear you, the real you. The way you sounded when you were excited about something, your take on a trip, and your honest reaction to a moment. The version of you that photos can never quite capture. And a lot of you connected with that idea. But here's something that I didn't talk about in that video. Something I fully didn't understand myself until I started posting. When you start sharing pieces of your real life as a parent, something else starts to happen. Something you didn't plan for. Something that has nothing to do with the algorithm and everything to do with the person on the other side of the screen who is living your exact life right now. That's what this video is about. Let me tell you what I've noticed since I started posting on this channel. In the beginning, I was doing exactly what I talked about last week. I was recording my voice and sharing my experiences and putting pieces of my life on camera so that my boys would have something to come back to someday. That was the whole intention. But something started happening in the comments that I wasn't expecting. Parents started showing up, not just to watch, but to respond. They wanted to tell me their take on certain things and how their reaction to the video made them feel. And I started to realize something. They weren't just viewers. These were parents carrying the same weight that I was carrying, trying to figure out the same things that I was trying to figure out. And the only reason why they found me, the only reason why we found each other, was because I put something real out there. It wasn't polished, it wasn't perfect, it was just honest. And honesty found its people. That's when I understood what YouTube can actually be used for as parents that nobody is talking about. It's not a platform for views, it's a platform for finding your people. Let me show you what this community piece looks like in real life, because I think when most parents here build a community on YouTube, they picture something that sounds like a lot of work, like growing an audience or responding to hundreds of comments, building a following. And I want to be clear, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is something much simpler and it's much more powerful. Let me give you a real example of what this looks like. Imagine you post a video about taking your kid on a college visit. Maybe it's to, Penn State or something. Maybe it's somewhere closer to home. I don't know. You post some photos from your trip and you talk about what the campus life felt like, what the drive was like, what it was like sitting in the auditorium during the orientation, watching your kids look around to their future and realizing that this is actually happening. They're leaving. And you're not sure if you're proud or terrified or both at the same time. So you put that all on camera. It's honest and it's the way that you actually felt. And then somebody watches that video. It's a parent whose kid goes to that same school right now and they leave a comment. Hey, my daughter is a sophomore there. I'm happy to help if you have any questions. And suddenly your kid isn't walking into a giant unfamiliar campus anymore. There's a connection, a real one. Somebody making introductions and sharing advice, helping them find their footing. Something that would never have existed if you hadn't put that honest, unscripted, slightly emotional video out there. That's not the algorithm working for you, that's humanity working for you. And it only happens because you shared something real. And here's what I want you to understand about that example. It's not unique. It's not lucky. It's what happens consistently when parents share their real lives online. Because the situations that feel the most personal to you, the ones that you think nobody else would relate to, are almost always the ones that connect people the most. Here's something I don't think we talk about enough. Parenting can be an incredibly isolating experience, especially for fathers. Because most men are not wired to walk into a room and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Does anybody else feel this way? No, we don't do that. It's not how most of us were raised. So we carry it quietly. The uncertainty about whether we're doing enough and the guilt of the time that we missed. The distance we feel from our kids and don't know how to close the gap on that. The sense that everybody else seems to have figured something out that we're still working on. And we carry all of that alone because we don't know where else to put it. But here's what I found. When a father puts something honest on camera, not a highlight reel, not a polished version of his life, but the real version, the struggling version, the still figuring it out version, other fathers recognize that immediately because they're living the same thing. And that recognition, that moment I thought I was the only one, is one of the most powerful things one parent can give to another. You don't need a big channel for that to happen. You don't need thousands of subscribers or a professional setup. You need one honest video, and then another one, and then another one. And slowly, without chasing it, you're building something that feels less like an audience and more like a room full of people who actually get what you're going through. That's the unexpected thing that YouTube does for parents. It finds your people. So let me bring this back to something practical, because I think that the question that most parents have at this point is, okay, but what do I actually post? And the answer is simpler than you think. Like I said, I went into detail with this on my last video, but you post the moments that feel the most significant to you. The college visit, the family trip, the holiday dinner that went sideways, the conversation that you had with your kids in the car that you didn't expect to go that deep, or the milestone that hit you harder than you thought it would. Any of those moments narrated in your voice over photos that you already have is a video worth making. And here's the thing about posting it publicly. You're not doing it for strangers. You're doing it because somewhere out there is a parent who is about to go through exactly what you just went through. And hearing your honest take on it, not advice, not a how-to, just your real experience, is going to matter to them more than you'll ever know. This is the gift of putting it out there. Your voice record for your family becomes a lifeline for somebody else's. And a community that builds around that, that's something no algorithm planned and no creator strategy predicted. It just happens when you're honest and consistent. I want to come back to where we started, because last week I told you that every parent should have a YouTube channel, because your kid deserves a voice record of who you were, your face, your voice, your honest take on the life that you lived alongside them. That's all still true. That's the foundation. But today I want to add something to that. When you put your voice record out into the world, when you make it public and let it find whoever it finds, you're not just leaving something behind for your family, you're reaching forward to a parent who's still sitting somewhere right now feeling like they're the only one. Feeling like nobody else understands what stage of life this actually feels like. And your video, your honest, unscripted, imperfect video, is going to be the one thing that makes them feel less alone. That's no small thing. That's the best part and the best use of this platform that nobody is talking about. And you don't need 1 million subscribers to make it matter. You just need to start. So drop a comment below. Have you ever made an unexpected connection online with somebody who is going through exactly what you're going through? Because I think more parents have experienced this than they realize. And there's real value in us talking about it, because life isn't hacked, it's built. And I'll see you in the next one.